Hey guys, so today we're doing part 2 of the brands that are in trouble. I obviously did this a few days back and you guys seem to really like it and you gave me a lot of ideas.
Today's video is actually very kindly sponsored by NordVPN, who have been a great help to this channel and all my other channels.
So go on nordvpn.com/Angelika Beauty for a huge discount on a 2-year plan with 4 additional months free.
It's also completely risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee, so it really doesn't hurt to try, and I bet you'll love it. I think considering our whole lives are on the internet, cybersecurity should be a massive deal to all of us, and NordVPN can really make that happen. Recently, a game that I really like to play, I'm not going to call them out, have had a lot of cybersecurity attacks. So they're called distributed denial of service attacks. So this attack is essentially when a high volume of data is being sent to an IP address to overload the network and then rendering your internet unusable. Luckily, I have NordVPN and I'm not struggling with that. NordVPN hides your IP address, so then the whole idea of the attack becomes completely useless. Other than that, NordVPN protects from malicious sites, downloads, trackers, and intrusive ads. With NordVPN, all of your internet data stays behind a very safe wall, is the way I like to imagine it, of next generation encryption. They also have support 24/7, so if anything's going wrong, you can just reach out and they'll help you solve it. There are 5,400 plus servers in 59 countries, so you really have a lot of choice to go through. And that helps with also the other perk of having a VPN service, and that's watching other countries' content. You can go on a different country's Netflix or Disney Plus and either get things early or get things that are completely unavailable to you in your country.
So go on nordvpn.com/Angelika Beauty for a huge discount on a 2-year plan with 4 additional months free.
And that is the best deal that you'll find online. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back into what I was talking about.
Also, in the UK, we've opened up a Sephora. We, as if it's like a collective effort. A Sephora has opened up, and now I get to actually see these brands in action. I feel like a lot of the popular brands in the past were just available online, so you can't really tell like how well a brand is doing based on its online presence necessarily. But now that I'm really losing my voice, aren't I? But now that I can see them in store, I can see which displays are getting all the love and which ones are not. So I'll definitely be also using that, and we can make this a whole series of videos of just like brands that we think just aren't really doing that well, because I feel like the beauty brand market has been so oversaturated that like there are a lot of brands that are doing really well. There are also now a lot of brands that are just not doing too well, not doing too hot. I actually went to Sephora to buy a few things, and I was slating it before, saying that they've come to the UK way too late, but better late than never. I actually really like having like a spot to go to in person to get all this stuff now, instead of having to get everything online. I think it's nice to peruse and stuff, you know? But I'm just finishing up my Hydro Grip, so let's just get on with it. I'm gonna go with start kind of hot first. I feel like ABH has fallen off. I still have all of my old ABH palettes, and I did film a video on ABH and why it's very difficult to support them right now. But I have like my old eyeshadow palettes. You can see they're very well loved. I have all of like the beginnings of the brand, as you can see, and I do love these palettes. I think they're great quality, but that's the thing, is like back in the day there was this like collector's mindset of all the palettes being the same shape, size, and style with the velvet packaging, and the quality was something that we've literally never seen before. Obviously kind of revolutionary, because the eyeshadows were really pigmented for the times and like powdery, and you know, they were just very different. And then I think now like it's difficult to find an eyeshadow palette that isn't pigmented. I feel like you really have to go out of your way to find just like a wash of color. So I feel like that's how they kind of revolutionized eyeshadows and became what they are. But now I feel like nothing that they release is super interesting. I feel like the downfall was the Norvina line and how much they pushed it, but also without kind of announcing to everyone what the Norvina line would be. It kind of seemed like when the first massive palette came out, that would be like the only Norvina palette, and then it ended up being a whole series of palettes. So people would buy the first one not knowing that more would come out, and then it would force them to spend more money or regret purchasing the first palette without seeing the rest of them. There was also a lot of issues with the way Norvina ran the company. I know there were a lot of really bad reviews regarding how she would fire people over like not being the right astrological sign and things like that. Like, oh, I'm being mean to you because Mercury's in retrograde. And it was just very childish. And you could tell she was kind of just like an influencer running a multi-million-dollar brand, and that just didn't really work out for her. Everyone's using this on TikTok, so I wanted to get it. It was in the Sephora. It's the Arborian Korean Skin Therapy CC Red Correct, and I actually really like this. Surprisingly, the reviews were good. I think it's just like perfect if you have a little bit of redness but nothing too crazy and you just want a little bit of cover up, that's all. You do have to blend it out with your hands. That's how I think it works best. and I don't like using my hands for makeup, but I get through it just because I think this product is really nice. And don't worry if it's like obviously looking very green at the beginning, it will blend out, even if you've put too much, because the first time I used it on my beauty TikTok, I have a beauty TikTok now, I'll link in the description, I used way too much and I was still able to blend it out. So it has SPF as well, which is really nice. It does feel SPF-y, it feels quite greasy if you don't really like that. I think this was a really good purchase for me. I love this for like every day. I feel like they've been trying to make a comeback recently with making like a new shape of palette to collect, but I don't see anyone really collecting them. Like I haven't seen the same hype as I did when like Modern Renaissance first came out and everyone's like, oh my god, we need these palettes. And then Soft Glam and Novena came out, like this Novena, and everyone wanted to collect these palettes and show them off and have the whole collection. I don't really see that these days. Like I've seen people say nice things about the palettes, but nothing that's like, oh, like you need all of them. They're amazing. The quality is like nothing you've ever seen before. Like it's probably a quality that you can get from many brands these days. I feel like the marketing hasn't been that good either. Like I don't really see many influencers talking about the new Anastasia Beverly Hills stuff. I don't know, something has just happened. And obviously there was the controversy that I covered with the owner, Anastasia herself, making really weird remarks about Putin during the height or like the beginnings of the war against Ukraine. It was weird jokes that like some people tried to explain as like, oh, she was just joking, like clearly she supports Ukraine, but like it seemed like she was kind of making the joke that Putin's like unbothered and like all these really weird memes about him. And obviously I can't assume what I think her like, I don't know, political leanings are or what she thinks about the war, but just making jokes about Putin being like unbothered as he's invading another country and like thousands of people are dying. I don't know if that's appropriate for like a brand owner. She hasn't said anything about it since then. That's just kind of been it. She made a few of those jokes and then called it a day and like hasn't addressed it since. But you know, it is what it is. It left a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm not saying that it's like the worst thing anyone's ever done, because I think, you know, there are like people like Jeffree Star where like I'll literally refuse to ever touch any of his cosmetics, even if he like stops being the owner. Just the idea of him ever owning the brand is enough for me. But I just thought it was really strange, just a weird thing to do in the midst of a war. I just felt like that was really odd. Even if it was supposed to be a joke, it just didn't land for me. She hasn't made any weird remarks since then. It was just weird to see. And I feel like all of that kind of combined makes for a very mediocre brand right now. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector that I've actually hit pan on. And I can't, well, I actually can't wait to finish it. I would love to have this forever. At some point I will finish it and I'll buy a new one because they're so good. Like, look at this, I just look so awake. When I was in Sephora, this actually wasn't on display, but I found it kind of behind the displays and I grabbed it. It's the Sculpt stick instead of the bronze stick in Toasted, which is the lightest shade. And this is their contour stick as opposed to like when they had just like the bronzer stick they came out with. Anyway, I actually thoroughly love this. It gives me a subtle, oh, don't tell me the packaging's broken. It's not rolling up. Okay, well my packaging's broken on this. That's really fun. I guess I'll just have to do what I do anyway, which is like dip into it like this. Oh, that kind of sucks. Anyway, this packaging is a bit iffy. Like when you take off the plastic cover on the actual stick, it like rips off a bit of everyone's contour, and everyone's had issues with it like breaking off their product. And I don't know, I feel like maybe they need to work on this packaging a little bit. Also, mine has like hair all over it because I dip my brush into it all the time, which is my problem, not the brand's problem. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to use it like this because it's not rolling up at all. So that's fun. I'll get it out one day. I love this Sculpt stick, that is what I'm trying to say, because I think it gives me a very natural sculpt, and I obviously don't draw directly on the skin because I don't think that ever looks good. I just like to very subtly blend, and I do end up using kind of a bronzer over the top is what I've kind of been doing with this, because it's so subtle that it literally just like gently contours and then I can bronze over the top, whereas usually the contour is so harsh that I then don't want to add more color because then my face doesn't match my neck and then it's just like a whole ordeal. Anyway, so I love this except for the packaging. I think it's a bit flimsy for some reason. I feel like this packaging has never been this bad. Like this is really Like it just doesn't go up. And obviously if I tip it over, it doesn't come out either. So I just have to use it like this. But I think overall the shades are beautiful. They have a really, really deep shade as well. And this fair shade obviously works for me, and I'm pretty fair. And I think you can use a really light hand with this. I had one of these in the past, but I used it up. So this is the Colourpop Super Shock Blush in Prenup, and I bought that. And I also, for the first time, got the Super Shock Bronzer, which people have been saying is really nice from what I've seen. What I really like about this is you can use it on cream or powder products, and then I think it looks good both ways. So if you need to touch up your bronzer kind of once you're done with your makeup or the blush, you can do that after you've set and all of that good stuff. So you can kind of see I do the contour and then I do the bronzer over the top to like blend it. I don't know, it looks good. So anyway, Anastasia Beverly Hills has kind of flopped over the time. I don't know, they used to be this like iconic brand, and the only makeup that I miss from them is like these palettes, the ones in the, like the suede packaging. They're the only ones that I'm like, oh, I still love using them. I take them out sometimes. So other than the brand owners being a little bit problematic, both Norvina and Anastasia have had their like fair share of controversy. The actual products haven't been that innovative in a really long time, and I think that's the issue, is like people sometimes in this day and age are willing to overlook problematic behavior for a good product, and you know it's bad when you've done something problematic and the products aren't good enough, so people can't even justify getting your stuff. Because we all know that people buy Jeffree Star products and justify it as, oh, his products are just the best I've ever used, so I have to justify the racism and the weird alleged crimes because his makeup is just so good, you know? But like no one's doing that with Anastasia Beverly Hills, which blows my mind because I feel like Anastasia has done less than Jeffree Star, obviously. I'm using Prenup, which is the blush shade. I think this is just like the perfect blush. I love it. And I just used it all on the same brush. My next one's Kylie Cosmetics. I also did a video on Kylie Cosmetics separately, and I haven't seen them really pick up. And obviously recently with the Hailey Bieber Selena Gomez drama, I don't know if it's helping her or hurting her. I've seen her do a lot of sales on her website. I just think people are very confused about the direction of her brand. Like, she's not really, she's kind of following trends, but not really. She releases like cream blushes and cream like highlights, but everything just feels a bit forced. She can't really stick to a theme. Like the packaging changes all the time for different products. I understand why she keeps her liquid lipsticks around because it's like that's what she is known for, so it would make sense to keep them around just for the sake of nostalgia more than anything. But they are on sale a lot because I'm assuming a lot of people just aren't buying liquid lipsticks in this day and age. This brush applies the blush really lightly, so I'm like dipping in so many times. Okay, I think I've sufficiently blushed now off camera. I'm just gonna apply the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk highlight. So with Kylie, obviously she's keeping around her iconic products because that makes sense. People just aren't really that interested in liquid lipstick, so you kind of need something else to keep you going. I feel like the only thing I've seen recently is the Balm blush has been quite popular because a few celebrities and like big TikTokers have talked about it. I feel like her like powder blushes, mainly in Winter Kissed and Pink Power, have been really popular. Other than that, I don't really see much happening for them. I really enjoy Kylie's high gloss formula. I always really liked it. I feel like it's really thick and, you know, juicy, but I feel like lip gloss is kind of like, once again, it's kind of like eyeshadow, but you can't really mess it up these days, and that's just not getting the hype. You don't buy that many blushes, like you kind of buy one or two, and if you're just like a normal person with a normal collection, you're not gonna run out of blush anytime soon. So I feel like it's very difficult for Kylie to come out with things now that are going to bring in a constant stream of income, which is why she's recently announced that she's coming out with a mascara. But I feel like you have to do like a magnificent mascara for people to be willing to get rid of their mascara that they use on a regular basis, their like cult fave, to use yours. Like I feel like there are not many times where I kind of transfer to using a new mascara over stuff that I already know works for me. I might try something if it like really catches my attention through the like advertising and marketing, but from what I've seen, the mascara doesn't look that amazing. Not to be shady, but it doesn't look that great on her lashes. So would I pick it over just my regular stuff that I use on a regular basis? Probably not. People also discuss the quality and how it is quite subpar, which obviously doesn't help with the price tag being quite on like the mid to high side. Kind of have to have the quality to match. And I feel like a lot of people say that the quality just isn't there for them. Like I said, there are a few products that really work and people are willing to buy them. The blushes, I think I like the glosses, etc. But other than that, people say, you know, the eyeshadows are quite subpar, the liquid lipsticks just aren't that great. I think the highlights aren't amazing. I don't really like the highlight formula. I think it's quite powdery. I haven't tried that much from the new eyeshadows. I've tried one of the palettes and it was okay. Like, I liked it. I used it when I was doing my Kylie Cosmetics video, but I haven't really gone back to using it since, which I guess speaks volumes on kind of my approach to Kylie Cosmetics. Then we have Stila. I feel like Stila hasn't really been seen being like mentioned on the internet since Tati blew up those liquid eyeshadows for them. Like, she really did all of the marketing for them. And since then, I haven't seen much from them. I remember the liquid eyeliner used to be really popular, and since then I haven't really seen people mention it. So it was the liquid eyeshadows and the eyeliner, which you'd think an eyeliner is going to bring in a kind of constant stream of revenue. You kind of switch one out, you know, 3 to 4 times a year because it dries out. I don't know. I would expect that to bring in an income. The liquid eyeshadows just aren't really that popular anymore since other brands have started doing similar things and make it easier to use formats as well. I'm going to use another topical product. I spoke about M Cosmetics and Michelle Phan in a video recently, and I haven't bought anything new from her because I feel weird giving her money because of her weird cult associations, but I already have a lot of stuff and it's very nice. So I'm going to use the Divine Skies eyeshadow palette today just to switch things up. I like to use something different every time I do my makeup these days. But I haven't heard about Stila in a long time, and I mean, TikTok has blown up makeup again since the pandemic. I feel like over the pandemic, obviously no makeup was really doing well. It was mostly skincare, but I feel like now, post-pandemic, we've entered an era of makeup again with TikTok popularizing many brands, and Stila just isn't one of them. They're always on sale when I go on different kind of retailers that sell Stila, and I haven't heard the same buzz for them since the eyeshadows, since Tati really has blown them up. And I think they're the next to file for bankruptcy or just slowly disappear, like kind of Cover FX, Becca. Like, in my opinion, if Becca files for bankruptcy and leaves, there is no chance for brands like Stila. Like, I don't know, I'd have to be proven wrong with like seeing financials, but to me, Becca was always more successful than Stila. So to see Becca go but not see Stila go is really weird to me. I just haven't seen any innovation from them in a really long time, so that's why I'm saying they're the next to go. Controversial, I think Jones Road Beauty isn't making the kind of moves that I was expecting it to make. Like, I feel like they blew up over the Miracle Balm or whatever it's called, like the skin universal balm that you're supposed to use all kinds of different ways, but actually it's literally just, it looks like Vaseline on your face. And you have to like break the seal, and there's like all these specific ways you have to use this makeup, which for a brand that's supposed to be like your face but slightly better and natural makeup and quick run out the house makeup, to have all these rules around your products just doesn't help the branding. By the way, M Cosmetics has an amazing eyeshadow formula. It kind of sucks that she has been sucked into these weird money ploys, because I personally don't want to give her money because I don't want my money to end up in a cult. Like, I don't want my money to be helping a cult survive. But her makeup is just so good. It just works amazingly well. I wish she wasn't going through it. Obviously, that's not for me to decide. That's something she's going through in her life. I just wish that she wouldn't be kind of contributing to cults. Because I think her makeup really is amazing. I think these days people just don't really promote it because of how weird she's been acting on the internet. But her makeup is so good. I don't think there's been a single miss from what I've tried from her. Jones Road. There are just so many barriers of entry to using her makeup, and whenever, you know, you do something slightly wrong, it doesn't work. I feel like What the Foundation also made moves on the internet. Like, I feel like people were either loving it or hating it, and people still either love it or hate it. But I feel like since then I haven't heard anything about them. But I haven't heard anyone be like, wow, Jones Road is my favorite brand of, I don't know, bronzer or foundation. Like, I feel like they're always just fine. Like, it's never that amazing, and that doesn't help. Like, you kind of need some cult product. You need stuff that is like, I will pick this over any other brand, and I don't think Jones Road has that. And they are a newer brand, that's for sure, but I don't know, I just don't see them surviving that long, which is sad because I feel like, you know, the natural makeup movement has been going strong, and that feels like a good climate for Jones Road Beauty to thrive in. But I don't know, I feel like just the barrier of entry to using the makeup is way too high. It's like you have to learn a whole new technique of doing makeup to be able to use it. Ah, this eyeshadow just looks so good. You can't even see it on camera that well because I feel like cameras just kind of blur everything out anyway, but it just looks so good. I'm even able to use a lot of the powder products on my under eye and in my inner corner because they're so creamy. They are irritating my eyes a tiny bit, as all eyeshadows do, because it just dries out my eyes, but much better than kind of just regular powder products. But the way this looks is just so beautiful. I'm actually going to stay topical and use the Heaven's Glow Magic Hour blush over the top of my blush, but I'm just going to go in with bronzer quickly. I haven't seen any new viral releases from them, anything that kind of is like the foundation for them, like nothing like that has come across my For You page since then. I haven't seen anyone kind of hype up the products on TikTok the way for a bit everyone was doing a full face of Jones Road Beauty. I'm using the Nabla bronzer in Amber because it's super natural and it just allows me to set the bronzer with a bronzer but not add too much color to my face. Yeah, no one's doing like full face of Jones Road or including Jones Road in their favorites. I don't know, if you guys have had a different experience, please let me know. If you've seen people hype up Jones Road, like which products are they? Are anyone's favorites like Jones Road products? I don't know, I just haven't really seen it much. I'm just gonna go in with the blush from M Cosmetics. This is the Heaven's Glow in Magic Hour, like I said, and this is the perfect color for me. Like if I could pick one blush, it'd be this. I started using it again recently. This is just the blush for me. Like, I think it's absolutely stunning. And it just works so well. On that same vein, I think Bobbi Brown is kind of on a decline, but it is one of those cult classic, like old school brands that maybe they'll just live on because there's like nostalgia. It's kind of like MAC. I think there are still people that buy from Bobbi Brown that used to buy from Bobbi Brown 10 years ago and 20 years ago, and they will continue to buy from Bobbi Brown because they just have this one like makeup routine that they do, and maybe Bobbi Brown appeals to those people that only have like a very simple makeup routine. I don't know when this stopped recording, so I hope nothing crazy has been missed, but I just did white in my waterline with the Colourpop liner, and I was saying that I don't know why we ever stopped doing that because it looks so cute and it makes your eyes look really like big and open and you look awake and all of that good stuff. So I don't know why we ever stopped doing it, but that's the thing about beauty trends, they come and they go. So this is gonna go soon. I'm just fixing up my brows a little bit. I just used a brow gel, just a clear boy brow on them when I first started doing my makeup, and this is just all I do. I call it a day. This is just the Colourpop brow pencil without the brush on it, the spoolie, and this is in the shade taupe. So that's all we do. I don't really need them to look the same, they just need to be organized. Actually, this one's missing a bit on the front. I haven't really seen Bobbi Brown be hyped up on the internet much. I bet there are like a few YouTubers that really like Bobbi Brown products, but overall I haven't heard many people say, oh, you know, this Bobbi Brown eyeshadow is my favorite, or this Bobbi Brown lipstick is my favorite, or whatever it is. And I think they might just have the same vibe to them as brands like MAC, Clinique, Estee Lauder, where they just have like a core audience that they sell for that isn't kind of teenagers, because obviously it's quite an expensive brand, so it might not blow up on TikTok. But then again, like Makeup by Mario blows up on TikTok, Charlotte Tilbury blows up on TikTok. Like, those are expensive brands sold in like Sephora, etc., and they're still getting all the sales that they need. So I don't know why Bobbi Brown just isn't, I think they just don't market to trends. Like, I feel like Makeup by Mario sells quite trendy stuff. Even Charlotte Tilbury plays into, you know, trends with liquid blushes and liquid highlights, and it all kind of does play into trends. I don't know, I feel like Bobbi Brown just hasn't been on my radar in a really long time, but I feel like they might have the like MAC marketing of there is a core audience that's been buying for decades, and they will continue to buy from Bobbi Brown because they have just like a staple makeup routine that they never switch up from. Like, you know, people that have their whole makeup collection in a makeup bag, not IKEA storage, and their whole makeup bag is just Bobbi Brown, and they get their makeup recommended at the counter in like a, you know, department store, and maybe they're fine. I hope they're fine, but I know obviously Bobbi Brown has left Bobbi Brown and created Jones Road Beauty, and I feel like now both brands are kind of lacking. Like, I feel like Bobbi Brown is lacking because Bobbi Brown isn't creating makeup for them anymore, and Jones Road Beauty is lacking because she rebranded to this like natural makeup routine, but it's a complicated natural makeup routine. Like, I feel like natural makeup should be kind of just do it however you want. Like, it should work even if you're doing it with your eyes closed, and I feel like her brand, like I said, has just like a high barrier of entry. This was just the Act Natural Defining Mascara by Colourpop. I'm just finishing a few things up, so some of this isn't like my all-time favorite product, but it's just stuff I'm trying to finish up. Now, I recently repurchased my Pat McGrath kind of, these are the lipsticks that got released for Bridgerton, the Bridgerton collection, and now she has re-released them as like an actual line of lipsticks, which I actually really like these. I know people say this packaging feels cheap and flimsy, but it is less expensive and you get less product, so that you don't have to use it all up and you don't waste as much, which I actually think is a great, like, I don't know why we would complain about getting more affordable products. I think it's great. My nose is itchy. What I find is these go bad really quickly. I had Negligee, which is this one from the Bridgerton collection, and my one went bad before I was able to use it up, and I think it went bad in about 6 months, whereas it says 18 months on this. It definitely didn't last 18 months for me. The crayon scent started coming in around the like 6-month mark, so I threw it in the bin, very sadly. But they've re-released these, which is so nice. I did buy Negligee again because it's one of my favorite lipsticks of all time. Nude Venus and Nude Romantique 2. And what she's done really nicely with these, the packaging's not random anymore. The ones in the pink packaging are warm nudes, and the one in the blue packaging is cool nudes. So I love this. I've tried all of them already. I'm just gonna wear Negligee for you guys. My next one is Smashbox. I just used Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude lip liner. As you guys know, that's like the only one I'm using right now because I'm using it up as well as just loving it. But at some point I will start using a different lip liner. I'm trying to get through all of them before I buy any new ones, so that's a task for me. I'm just going with Negligee. And what I like to do with lipsticks these days is not like full apply it, but just like that. I just don't apply it super heavily, but I think this lipstick is so gorgeous. This whole formula is so nice. Like, just the formula of it is so much better than the matte trance lipsticks. I have 4, I think, or 5 of the matte trance lipsticks, and I just never use them. I keep them because they're beautiful and they look really nice in my collection, but the formula is heavy, crackly and matte. I just don't particularly like it. It's very pigmented. I feel like unless you've got like the most nourished lips with like filler in them. I think filler works with these kind of matte lipsticks because your lips are naturally more plump and like juicy with the hyaluronic acid, but other than that, like, I just think these are so much better in formula than the matte trance ones. Smashbox, no viral products or staples that I hear anyone talking about. I'm just using the Sailor Moon collection lip gloss in Moon Tiara. I've also finished up another Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray by Charlotte Tilbury. This is a brand new one. So with Smashbox, they have like no viral product or staples that I hear anyone talking about. They used to be talked about for their primers and their setting sprays, the foundation, but now I don't really hear anyone talk about the primers or the setting sprays or the foundation. I know that they have reformulated all of their products. Well, most of their like classics. I don't know if that's for the good or for the worst. No one's really talking about it. I know that they also bought out some of the Becca products, so that might be where they're making their money. So after obviously Becca filed for bankruptcy, Smashbox is now selling like a few of the highlights, some of the like color correctors for the under eye. So maybe instead of making money from their Smashbox products, they're actually making money from the Becca products that they bought out, which would be really funny. But if you guys have seen anyone talk about Smashbox, or if you go to your local, you know, Sephora, wherever they sell Smashbox, let me know if you can see kind of from the display how things are looking for them. Are people buying Smashbox? If you work in any of these retail spaces, how you think they're doing. So I think sometimes the perception online is not the perception in real life, and I feel like people might just have different opinions. So let me know what you guys think. Also, let me know any brands for the next video that you guys want me to talk about in terms of you thinking that they're falling off. Subscribe to the bell icon for engagement, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.